Now, what are voxels? And why are they so cool? Now, hear me out. Voxels are actually just cubes. I mean, as you can see here, it's just a cube. And sure, there's a lot of random gap here about what a voxel actually is, but it's literally just a block, typically used within a 3D software or 3D graphics. Now, what makes these so cool? You know, why even use this block? Like, what's the point? Why don't we just like use actual like 3D objects and stuff? Well, you don't understand. Voxels are what make up 3D objects within computers. I'll explain why later, but first of all, in real life, we obviously have things such as molecules and things that make up the world around us. Now, this would be super cool if we could simulate every single molecule within a computer, but obviously we can't do that. That is way too much for a computer. Even though today's computers are very fast, it still is nowhere near the amount of level of the entire, perceivable universe and all the molecules. We would never be able to simulate all of that by doing math. Obviously we could, but computers aren't quite there yet. So, like Legos in real life, we are able to use voxels within computing because it's a very simplified version of reality that allows us to create and destroy whatever we want. We're able to create our very own worlds and break them down or build up new ones, tell stories, and do all this really cool stuff within, well, just Legos. Or, in this sense, voxels within voxel worlds, because you can create and destroy entire worlds. Now, another thing you could tie this also with is procedural generation, and this is what allows to create a lot of stuff here. Now, procedural generation. I should have had this pulled up earlier, but whatever. Now, procedural generation is basically noise that is simplified. So, okay, Wikipedia sucks in explaining this. But what it does is, where are all the good visuals? I mean, look, basically what it is noise. And noise can look very random at first, as you can see here. The noise is very random, but by using procedural generation, we're able to make it a little bit smoother and really turn it into entire worlds, because by combining a bunch of this random noise. Anyways, back on the topic of more reality versus voxel. Voxels use marching cubes, but so does 3D graphics. So theoretically, all 3D graphics is all made up of, not technically voxels, but the theory behind it, which is marching cubes to be able to create this stuff, is used in both voxel games and in actual 3D graphics, which allow us to create all these really cool worlds, which basically use step by step in a bunch of cubes in order to create the model by more and more precise data by using more and more cubes or voxels in this sort of sense. And then you can also do stuff such as ray marching, which allows you to get more technical detail into it and whatnot, which allows for stuff on the so there's kind of a I'm stumbling a lot with my words and I do apologize, but there's basically this spectrum. On one side you have voxels, a completely voxel based game such as Minecraft, where you can create and destroy whatever you want. And on the far side you have games like Red Dead, where everything is fully 3D and realistic. But there's a trade-off here. On one of them, you can completely destroy and rebuild whatever you would like. On the other hand, not so much. Now, obviously, there's also in-betweens as well, such as stuff like No Man's Sky, where there's a completely giant world, but obviously, you can't create and destroy as much as you would probably like to. And this is what makes voxels so cool, because it is basically the entirety of 3D graphics but also it allows for the creation and destruction of anything 3D to create whatever your heart's content. And that, well, is why voxels are so cool. So, thanks for watching. Subscribe.